Week. I am your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective, especially tonight. I am thrilled with the way our Pistons played. We lost 103 to 102 in Miami, playing the Miami Heat, who were runners up. And they lost in the NBA Finals this past season, and they were 9-point favorites coming into the game. And we took our game on the road, and despite having 14 turnovers in the first half, which led to a lot of points, we fought back and got the game within 1 point, and we had with 2.5 seconds left. We had the ball on the sideline out of bounds after a timeout. Monty's famous for drawing up plays during timeouts, and I don't think executed it exactly right. I think we'll probably get better at doing that. But Cade got off a tough shot at the buzzer, and it might have been even right after the buzzer, but we ended up losing. But there were a lot of fabulous things to take from this game, and it was so encouraging, so exciting. For one thing, welcome back, Mr. Cade Cunningham. He had 30 points. He had first half, he was just ridiculous. He was 8 for 11 from the field, 2 for 2 on threes, and had 18 points at halftime. We're going to get into some of the other things. Like I said, we turned it over way too much. And then we had, Killian started, which was, we weren't sure what was going to happen, who was going to start. And after hearing, after Bojan is injured and it hurts, I mean, if he would have been out there today, and if Monty Morris would have been there, and could have put him in there in the second quarter when we turned it over so many times, and they led to so many easy baskets for Miami. Monty doesn't turn the ball over, so he would have been handy to have. But there were just a lot of great efforts and performances. Assar started his first NBA game, and he did some good things and some bad things. One thing I'll say about Assar, I love him, and I think he's a great player, but people seem to ignore some of the things, that he does. So tonight he had 5 block shots, which is the most by a non-center in their first game of their career in NBA history. He had 5 block shots. He blocked Jimmy Butler multiple times, at least 2 or I think maybe 3 times, but he was just a force, and he is so good at blocking shots. And he had 7 rebounds, and he only played 27 minutes, which is still a lot of minutes, but not that many minutes for getting 7 rebounds and having that many blocks. He also had 3 assists, and again in that limited time. But the problem is he was 1 for 7. So we're going out there, and we have Killian, who starts, and Assar and Jaden Ivey in the first half. They combined for 2 for 17. And that's really hard to win a game when you got 3 guys on the court that shoot for 2 for 17. And that's kind of what Killian's done for his career. That's his shooting percentage has not been good. And tonight he was 0 for 6 on threes, and he just shot terrible. And Monty has lots of confidence in him. He does play good defense. He does pass the ball well. And Assar does all these great things, but it just is really hard to win games when you can't make a shot and people don't have to guard you. And so down the stretch, Coach Williams decided to have Burks in the game. So Alec Burks was in the game instead of Assar, so he didn't play down the stretch. So we can go through the stats. And Assar, again, he had 27 minutes, 1 for 7, 1 for 2 from free throws, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 blocks, 4 points. He was minus 14 overall, but it's he did all those things that we know he's great at. He just can't be he just has to be 3 for 7. He doesn't make 2 more shots. And the one shot he made was a 3. Ironically, they just left him alone. He dribbled up to the 3-point line and gave him all the space in the world, and he knocked it down to his credit. But he just has to do better. But he was magnificent on defense, like we knew he could be. He passed the ball well, and he just needs to learn and grow. I'm sure he's still going to get lots of opportunities. I'm sure he's going to rebound and do a lot better job next game. Stew was out of sight. I'm not always the biggest fan of Stew. Some of you know that, but I can only give him props tonight. He was incredible. He played 35 minutes. He was 6 for 11. 2 for 3 on threes, 14 rebounds, and he got a bunch of big offensive rebounds down the stretch in the fourth quarter. He got 2 just tough rebounds in traffic, and he had 14 rebounds overall. And he had 4. He had 2 assists, 14 points, and he played fabulous. If he plays like that, we're going to be tough to beat. So, Jalen Duren he's the man child, 19 years old, had played 32 minutes, 8 for 11. So, we should have got him the ball more, but 1 for 3 from the free throw line. And I've talked about that, so when him and Assar are 2 for 5 and you lose the game by 1 point, that's hard because that you just got to do better than that. That's 40% on free throws from those two guys. But he had 14 rebounds also and a whole bunch of offensive rebounds just like Stew had. 4 block shots. So it was a block party for the Pistons. The team had 13 blocks, and I'm not sure what the Piston record is, but that has to be right up there. And Ben Wallace is a great shot blocker, and I know those teams had some good shot blockers, but I'm not sure what the record is. I'm sure I'll probably find out tomorrow. But Duren was awesome, 17 points, and like I said, he scored. He did a great job on Bam, and Cade was the man though. Cade, 36 minutes he played, and Monty said after the game he's not in shape yet, and that he'll get in shape and he'll play even better because he'll be in shape. But he was 13 for 27. Again, the first half he was really on fire, 8 for 11. But the second half, in the third quarter, he missed like 3 or 4 in a row to begin the third quarter, and then he came back. Like we've seen him do that in his first 2 years, which he didn't get to play much last year, but he only had 3 rebounds. I said that I thought his rebounding totals were going to go down because we got, when Assar's getting that many rebounds and Stew and Duren, there's not that many rebounds left to go around. But anyway, he had 9 assists, so he was passed the ball fabulous and 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers is okay for Cade. If he's playing 36 minutes and taking 27 shots and only has 3 turnovers, but 30 points, that is out of sight. He was unbelievable, and they were. Unfortunately, we had those guys that couldn't shoot out there on the court, and so in the second half they started doubling Cade. Even when he was way far, like 40 feet from the basket, they were sending the second defender at him. But here's the thing that bothers me. Cade had the ball that much, he passed that much, and he shot that much, and he took the ball to the basket. 0 free throws, and I just don't quite understand why he doesn't get calls. But maybe he wasn't fouled that many times. So a lot of people still don't like Marvin Bagley, but Marvin Bagley, I mean, if you were Marvin Bagley and you played 16 minutes and you were 3 for 3 from the field and 2 for 2 from the line and had 8 rebounds in 16 minutes, he out-rebounded everybody. And 3 assists in 16 minutes and 1 block and 8 points. I mean, that, it's hard because here's the problem is Stew and Duren were so crazy good that where are you going to play him? And so it's hard. And Weissman, he didn't even get off the bench. He didn't even get out of his sweat, so he didn't even get an opportunity to play. But Joe Harris came in and he was 0 for 2, and it's hard. He's not going to get that many minutes. 12 minutes isn't very many minutes, and 2 shots. He was 0 for 2, and he's going to be good for us. And even if he just plays 12 or 16 minutes in games, he's going to knock down. And we really need him to step up with Bogey out. So here's the one big disappointment for me, and I think Monty's won more games in the last 3 years than any coach in the NBA. And he is a good coach, and he does a lot of things. He cares about his players. He sees himself as a servant of players. He wants to make players be the best that they can be and the best people that they can be, and he tries to be the best person he can be all the time. But he's also talked about trying to challenge players and put them under pressure to make them better and make them uncomfortable, and by doing that to make them better. Well, it's not happening with Jaden Ivey so far, and not that it still can. It might end up working on him, but he looked like panicked in the last preseason game. He just rushed everything and looked like he was, not sure of himself, and just did things and just had no confidence. So tonight, 17 minutes he only got to play, and 1 for 7, 0 for 2 on threes, and 2 for 3 from the line, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 turnovers in only 17 minutes. And so it's in his head. We watched him play last year, and at the end of the year he was fantastic. So hopefully he can overcome that insecurity of not getting to start and feeling. I talked to you about Maxey, from Philadelphia, about how when he got hurt and he was playing great and he was a starter and he was tearing it up, and then he got injured. Then he came back from the injury, and he didn't start. And he played really well, but he still didn't get started. And he said it got in his head. So we'll see if that's in Ivey's head. We'll see how much, maybe, because Killian shot terrible for 3 years. But Ivey had 1 year, and especially the second half of that last year, he got better every month, and he played really well, and he shot well. And so, that's a different story. Assar, he shot bad his whole career. He shot bad in the overtime elite. He finished bad by the basket. He shot poorly from the outside. He was a 60% free throw shooter. So that's Killian and Assar are that, but that's not what Ivey is. And so we need him to score, because again, you can't win games. It's hard to you lose that game by 1 point. And like I said, the first half when you got those three guards that are 2 for 17, and that's really where it really hurts not to have Bogey and Morris. That they could have come in and really solidified things. So like I said, Burks, they played down the stretch. He played 25 minutes. He was only 2 for 8 and 2 for 5 on threes, and 1 for 2 from the line, and had 5 rebounds and only 7 points. But I know Monty had more confidence in him, obviously, to have that veteran out there down the stretch. I was so impressed with Sasser. He only played 10 minutes, but he was 3 for 4, and he was 2 for 3 on threes. But here's the thing. He made a 3, and just after he shot the 3 and made it, they blew the whistle, or right while he was shooting it, and the ball went in the basket, but they called it illegal pick. And then another time he shot a 3 and made it, they called traveling on him. So really he, theoretically he could have been 4 for 5 on threes. But anyway, he didn't look too nervous. He had 2 rebounds, and he had 8 points, so that was a good outing for him. But the Pistons shot 44%, which isn't great at all. Only 34% on threes. Again, that's not very good, but it's below league average. But still, we need to shoot at least that to have a chance to win. But again, it just kills us. We shot 60% from the free throw line, and NBA players, for a team to shoot 60%. And so here's the thing: Miami shot 81% from the line, and we shot 60% from the line, and you lose by 1. And we had 16 turnovers, and Miami had 7 turnovers, and you lose by 1. So we outplayed them, and my guesstimation, we played so hard and so gutsy, and it was really cool after the game. Monty said, we have a resilient group that believe in what we're doing, and they believe in each other, and you could see it on the court, and that's what's so encouraging, so fun. Again, this season is going to be ups and downs, and we're going to lose close games because we got some guys that shoot bad. We don't make free throws. We turn it over too much. I said that before the season starts. I said and I said that, I don't know if I said 16 was the number that it would have to take for us to be in games, but we can't, just especially turn it over and give up easy shots. So Butler was good, tough, but he only made 6 out of 18 shots, and he had 8 rebounds, and he blocked 2 shots. He had 19 points, and he like I said, he got 8 rebounds. He was tough, but Assar, I was looking forward to that matchup, and it was cool to see Assar. I'm sure Assar blocked him at least 3 times, so that was really cool. And Bam had 22. Bam's a great player. A couple things that I don't know. Again, it's really easy to criticize coaches, but I'm not sure we ran the high pick and roll, and I wanted the Cade and Duren pick and roll, and I was so frustrated that we never hardly got to see it during the season, and also that we're always running these pick and rolls on the side, close to the sideline, instead of in the middle of the court where Cade seems to like to operate and seems to be able to get to spots easier when he does that. My question is as a coach, looking at when we had Duren set the pick in the fourth quarter, what was happening is he was had Bam switching on to him. And Bam is a top 3 candidate for Defensive Player of the Year every year. And he's always on the all-defensive team, and he is incredible. There were times they had Kevin Love out there. Kevin Love is old. He can't move. And whoever was guarding Kevin Love should have been setting the pick. And then getting that person to switch out on Cade. So, that's just, again, it's easy to second-guess coaches, but we'll see what happens going forward. But it was very encouraging. But now we have a day off. The guys are going to get their bodies revived and everything, and they'll probably walk through some things, and they go to Charlotte. So we got to play, and we got to hope that LaMelo's not on fire, because he can be hit and miss a lot of times. A lot of guys on their team can be hit and miss. They could take some bad shots, I think. Last year they did, at least. So, but then we get to play at home on Saturday. So we play Friday in Charlotte, and with 1 day off, and then we have to play our third game in 4 days, and that'll be our home opener, and it'll be a back-to-back. So that's not the greatest thing in the world, but it was cool. After the game, Cade said, "All glory to God. It's crazy to be back on the court and back with my brothers, competing. I'm thankful and lucky to be doing what I do." And Cade Cunningham, we are lucky and thankful to see you doing what you do. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and leave a thumbs up. If you're watching on Spotify, please leave a 5-star review. Be the reason that someone feels loved and cared for and heard. And let's keep it going, Pistons.